The Honourable Nanaia Mahuta.
Mr Speaker, I join with Labour colleagues to support the passage of this bill and acknowledge the effort that its sponsor, Catherine Delahunty, has gone to put together a case for it to be considered by Select Committee. And if we look at the evidence and the current shareholding of Māori land that has been retained, one would see a disproportionate argument in the way in which the government members have said there would be unequal treatment, because the reality is that huge tracts of Māori land have been taken either by confiscation, through the Public Works Act, through some deeds of sale that were a little bit dubious, through a number of measures. But it is right, and I want to acknowledge that treaty settlements in part are one way to address some of these historical wrongdoings of the taking of Māori land. But I believe that it should go to Select Committee because there would be a number of families with some very practical examples where lands have been taken under the Public Works Act for a specific purpose and not given back to the families when it wasn't used. Let's look into Kuiti, for example, in the aerodrome there. I connect to the people of Maniapoto, and this is a very good example, where land was taken for a specific purpose, not used for that purpose, and for some reason got acquired by the local council and then for some reason got sold to a local lawyer who happened to be the lawyer of the council and then became the aerodrome. And there is no remedy for that family to be able to get that land back except through going through a tribunal process, arguing their case, and then saying, actually, what was supposed to be a public work that didn't happen now has to be resolved by a treaty settlement. And I understand that the nature of the historical, I guess, basis for which that issue arose, but you can see how there would be a lack of faith for several people who have had direct experience about a process that really does fail them. And what this does is it raises issues that sit outside, for example, current processes. One of the biggest challenges with the Ture Whenua Māori Act is that issues relating to the Public Works Act aren't actually addressed at all within the context of that particular bill that is currently being considered by the Māori Affairs Select Committee. And if the government was genuine about equal treatment before the law, then surely they would want to ensure that this bill at least gets through the first reading, goes to Select Committee, so that we can hear the breadth of interest around this particular issue. Because this is about protecting whenua. It's not about anything else but ensuring that people have a legitimate ability to protect whenua, and I think that that is an important thing. I listened carefully to the chair of our Select Committee, who is a very good chair, and his concerns around the unequal treatment. What he said was the unequal treatment in the application of this bill, but you would only have to read the advice coming from Chief Legal Counsel around the Bill of Rights test, and that there is justified reason for having a limited discretion in the way in which this bill proposes. And I'd say on that basis alone, the House should seriously consider, if for no other reason than a fair hearing, to pass this bill so that it would get to Select Committee for a full consideration of the way in which the bill could actually impact, not perceptually, on the protection of Māori land, which sits outside of the Ture Whenua Māori, to then determine whether the extent to which it is an unequal treatment. Because I think the determination that was made that's got Minister Finlayson's name on it will show that actually it's quite justified to have a measure of this level to be able to protect Māori land. What little Māori land is left in Māori hands. There are numerous examples throughout all our regions where land has been taken under the Public Works Act from Māori, and the avenue to be able to secure it back has been a long and windy road, and many have had no prospect of relief. And that, for that reason alone, To the member, sponsoring member Catherine Delahunty, I certainly support it going to the through the first reading and to select committee, and I hope that members will consider it seriously.